Hey everybody, how you doing? I'm Paps, a rising VTuber and artist, and today we're going to be working on another art fight attack. This time on a character named Leo by Budder64. Butter is a member of my friend Melita's community, and I don't know, there's something very charming about this design. I wanted to do an attack on it. Also, I've done nothing but friendly fire since art fight started, and I could really... it's getting kind of dire, you know? And yeah, Butter is on Team Stardust. I think is the other guys. I think Stardust is the other ones. But yeah, I wanted to do kind of like a very circular pose here. So yeah, definitely something like where they're crouched down low. I have so many of these idle poses in my pose library. I feel like I need to quarantine them into some kind of folder or something, just because I feel like the way they are now is just kind of unmanageable. Like, did you see how long I had to scroll? Did you see? Have you been paying attention? Did you see it? I will say they are a little bit more enriched than the stock poses that come with CSP, so that's also very good. Alright, so what I think I'm gonna do though. Alright, so first I'm gonna put this leggy a little bit kind of like this. So that way the foot can be on the ground. Might need to lift up the center of gravity here. This looks like some shit Dio Brando would hit while he's telling JoJo about how he wishes he was adopted. Not that Dio was adopted. Dio knows he's adopted. He wishes Jonathan was adopted. God, that must be the ultimate put down as somebody who is in a family with like an adopted sibling. Is that your adopted sibling is like, I wish you were adopted. Oh my god. I don't know. I feel like most adopted sibling families get along decently well. You know, stuff like the debacle in Phantom Blood being an exception rather than the rule. I hope. It's just me, or does this leg pose feel a little bit unnatural to anyone else? Like, I don't think he could actually bend his foot like that. Okay, I've got an idea for another thing we could be doing here. So what is there like? Okay, yeah, the sprinting pose might be it. Alright, so what we're gonna do is that we're gonna pull the hips like this and then crouch the guy over like this. So it looks kind of more circular like I wanted it to be. And also maybe we can turn out the hips a little bit. Hold on, what's up with the... Oh, it's that orange line that runs through the middle of the model, I see. That looks really bad when you stretch the legs like this. I probably shouldn't push my luck with the leg straining. I think what I can do is probably just bring this up like this. Or actually, hang on, maybe I can go one step further and... kind of like this. Because I definitely want to do... This is a character who has like elemental magic powers, right? I kind of want to do both hands on fire, just because fire looks really cool. This doesn't feel like it has enough power to it. Maybe this other hand should be further up. That might be it. Yeah, I think that was what was missing. Okay, then it'll move this like this. How's the hand before? All right, yeah, actually, yeah, that works pretty well. Okay, then. Okay, yep. I'm agreeing with all of this, with everything you've said so far. Me when I'm easily convinced by an argument. What I might do is that I might mess around with the height a little bit, just so that the body proportions are a little bit off. There we go. I might also change the pose of the hand. What does this scratching one look like? Like maybe if it's turned up a little bit more. No. Also, I really do like that the examples for the different spells up here are that one pick of an Elmo on fire. I do think that's pretty funny. Hmm. Okay, Claw feels like it's pretty good. I like Claw. Okay. Let's bring it forward a little bit like this. And okay, lower the opacity a little bit. Put this kind of in the top left. Hmm. Okay. We don't actually need the vector layer just yet. We can start with the sketch layer. Okay. Okay, maybe put those two back. Then. Okay, maybe if the fire kind of goes on like this. I think there was also an example of like what the fire power's on. Yeah, here it is. I'm glad to see that a lot more of the people that I follow and my mutuals and whatnot are participating in Art Fight this year, I do really think that it's a group. It's like the best opportunity you have to just expand your horizons as an artist. Because if you just like follow certain people, right? If you just go around following whoever you think, oh, this art style looks cool as hell, I like it. You know, obviously you're going to get a lot of good stuff, but at the same time, I feel like just going around and browsing what other people have made, I don't know, it can be a very edifying experience. I always look forward to finding like any interesting character designs, any kind of interesting ideas. And I don't know. In particular, I always find it compelling, right? When it looks like an ordinary person, but they have like magical powers. I remember my buddy Raph once told me about a fighting webtoon. I don't remember the name of it, but it was really interesting because it had to do a lot with sword fighting, right? And you'd expect that would mean that everybody, obviously, like a lot of the people in the setting were badasses. But the thing is, like the current greatest swordsman in the world, the kind of candidate for that title, wasn't some elderly dude with a long beard or some evil looking dude with like I don't know, a goatee or anything. It was a normal office worker who like straight up wore a suit and not even a suit, a shirt, a tie, and work slacks, and had like a demonic mask on top. That's such a compelling idea. Like instantly, you're like, how the fuck did that guy become a top contender? I don't know. I think it's always interesting to see the journeys of like, okay, this person is like an ordinary person. How did they end up in this situation? I don't know. I think that's like one of the major appeals of shonen is that you do have like in most cases, shonen is about like the character's progression, right? You have a lot of like, oh, the character can't do this right now, but they get stronger through training, or they unlock a more profound level of their abilities, and now they can do that thing that they couldn't do before. And it's rewarding to see that. You like seeing a compelling character kind of take their current limitations, overcome those limitations, and rise above everything. Of course, that's not all that makes a good a good shonen plot. Like, obviously, you need to have compelling characters. Like I said, a compelling reason for them to fight. I remember when I was like way younger, I ended up reading through this one called The Mightiest Disciple Kenichi. And it was really funny because the entire reason that kid had to keep fighting isn't because he had like a vengeance to fulfill or he had like a mission to fight all the martial artists on Earth. He kept fighting because like whenever he defeated somebody strong, even stronger people were like, yo, this kid's pretty hot shit. Let me go try and fight this guy. Like literally all of his training was because he understood not even that he understood, that he was told explicitly, yeah, no, you beat the crap out of somebody strong and now other strong people are going to take notice of you. And if you don't lock in, you are going to be killed. And he almost was a few times. Oh god. And that's not compelling by itself, but like the way the world around the characters kind of bloomed from that, developed from that basic premise of, okay, so this kid is fighting for his life 24/7. That means that most of the people that the characters that we're gonna meet are gonna be people who have a reason to fight him, and it's kind of interesting, right? It has this. Fundamentally, any series that's about martial arts gets the most mileage out of it by showing a variety of those martial arts. It kind of goes back to that discussion we had a while back with the Hidden Tiger, Crouching Dragon story, or bar fight scene where we have a bunch of these rubes who want to get who want to fight the girl, right? They don't know she's a girl, she's a disguise, but they want to fight this kid, and all of them are like, Yeah, no, we all have like different esoteric martial arts. Like there's these two windbags with maces. There's this one dude carrying an abacus. Love that guy. Can't get enough of him. And it kind of, it just kind of fills out your world and makes it an interesting place to live. I remember somebody saying that about that. That's kind of what made Street Fighter Six's story mode an interesting and almost like long awaited decision. Is that they fundamentally you have to make characters in fighting games appealing, right? You can't just make a weak character design. It's not like you can say, oh yeah, this guy's supposed to be a random mook. He's gonna get wiped out within like 5 minutes. We don't need to worry about his design too much. Every character is going to be on screen for a good amount of time, especially knowing somebody might pick that character as their main. And because of that, each character needs to have like a kind of compelling design, a compelling reason to be there. And as you continue filling out this roster of characters, you just end up creating a very strange but interesting world that the player wants to learn more about. That they want to see that more of that. And that's kind of why Street Fighter 6's story mode is fascinating, because for once you get to see what that world is like, and it turns out it's kind of hilarious. Everybody's willing to run the ones with you. There's nobody who will refuse you a fight. Wandering martial artist is not only a viable career choice, you might actually be one of the richest people on the planet by the end of the story. I don't know. I think that's the strongest reaction you could hope to have in for world building and your settings is kind of hooking the reader along and making them, instead of being like, what's this guy's deal, be like, oh man, I wonder what this guy's about. It's like not just having that curiosity, but being excited for it to be revealed what the hell this person can do. At least that's what I think. Only one thing is visible, left or right, it does not matter. Street Fighter 6 having that game mode was such a good idea character wise. I think that as well, because I think the one weakness of fighting games in particular, as opposed to a lot of other games, is that they kind of are have a very limited amount of time to explain their story. Like Tekken 8, right? Tekken 8 had a really long story, had a decently long story mode. I've never actually played through Guilty Gear Strive story mode. I thought it was like a 4-hour movie or some shit. I might be wrong, but like that's the impression that I had based on my brief time trying to play that. Also, hi Jupiter. Games that by nature are kind of opposed to hanging out unless you just play long cutscenes. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. There are games that very much encourage hanging out, and some games that don't. And getting a chance to hang out with those characters is very refreshing. Okay, then that area is gonna go like this. Also, big fan of the triangular cutout cartoon eyes for this guy. Season 2 senseis are gonna be great. Terry, our collective friend Terry. That's right. I forgot that Terry Bogard was there. I've never played a Garo or King of well, no, I don't think Terry is from King of Fire. He might be. Right, no, it's Terry is from Fatal Fury. It's literally on his forehead. I've never played a Fatal Fury game yet, but everybody seems excited for City of the Wolves, so I'm riding along with that hype wave. Who is already a mentor character, but getting to hang out is always a blessing. That's true, actually. Terry Bogard's supposed to be like an older dude now, right? Like he handed that shit over to Geese's maybe baby. So I kind of wonder what the vibe is going to be once he shows up in Street Fighter 6. I may not Street Fighter, but Elena was such a win to be announced. Oh my god, yeah. I'm not too much of a street head myself, but I do. I don't know. There's something really magical about having a character whose whole thing is so happy that their vibes are contagious. She just seems like such a charming young woman. Okay, how's that look? Pretty good. I forgot the nose. All right. I'm going to flip the canvas real quick just to make sure that everything looks right. That seems pretty good. But yeah, I am wondering how the timeline is gonna work for Terry and Mai. Those motherfuckers are supposed to be like senior citizens by now. I mean, that's true. That's true of like half of the cast of Street Fighter as well, though. Is the thing. Like, how old is Dalzim supposed to be by the time of Street Fighter 6? Hang on. Let me look this up. Okay. E Honda is supposed to be 62. He's like 3 years away from retirement. Dalsim is like 70. Blanca is 57. Ken is 58. Everybody y'all are too old to be doing this, frankly. Like, you're only as old as you feel, right? This is why Honda's working on the restaurant biz. Yeah, like check. Okay, again, let me pull up the. Allow me to consult the website real quick. The canon. Let's see. Here we go. All right. So let's see. Wait, here's a look at what all the ages we think all the characters might be now. Hang on. So, not fully confirmed. We can estimate their ages by calculating from past games or their general appearance. Okay. Huh. That's that's a little shaky for me. We don't have canon ages. Hoping the costume threes for the SNK characters look cool. I hope so too. Alright, Cammy should be around 49. Ryu should be 58. Lily is supposed to be very young. She's like 18 to 20. Zangief is 67. No fucking shot. Zangief is 67 years old. Nah. Nah, you're fucking with me. Because like Zangief, that means that JP would be the same age as Zangief. Since JP's age is supposed to be like late 60s. These motherfuckers do not look the same in age. Zangief looks like he could be like in his anywhere from like 30 to 40. JP looks all his balls though. He looks like he should be 60. Marisa in her 30s makes sense. I'll defend that. JP when he reveals he's 102. JP, actually, I'm just 24. It would be funny as hell if JP was somehow like the youngest guy there. Manon is in her 30s. Okay, that makes sense. DJ, also supposed to be 57. I don't think that's. I mean, I could actually see that. You know, I could see. I feel like having like the kind of clubber's temperament would make you age very gracefully. E Honda being 62 is crazy work. Yeah, no, like DJ looks really good for 57. Also, he just has a great design. Love that guy. Okay, Dalzim is 70, so he would be around the same age as JP, more or less, and that I feel like that would track. You know, bro, you know, he does not ever skimp out on the sunblock, right? Like on the beach all day, dancing and bumping and having a great time. Every other hour, he's like, "All right, let's take a quick break. Just make sure we all have our SPF 500 on." That's very responsible. Okay, Blanca being 57. The thing about Blanca is that he's just a normal guy that just happened to rub enough chlorophyll on himself and also live in the jungle long enough that he became like that. I don't know if 57 is right. Juri being 38 is actually kind of awesome. I don't even care if that's not right. I think that rules. With everything we know about her, especially with like you can do it, Juri, on all those comics. Her being 38 would be hilarious. Kimberly being in her early 20s, I can understand that. I mean, I don't know, mid 20s, early 20s. Guile being 62 is crazy work. But it makes sense. I feel like it would almost make sense that he's like at least in his mid 50s, late 50s. Chun-Li being 55, okay, that about makes sense. Jamie, late 20s. Luke, late 20s. All right. Okay, I can All right. I'll play along for now. I'll pretend that makes sense. All right. I think we're ready to move on to the line art for this one. We might reduce the brush size to 10. I don't know. He's got a very round chin. So I'm kind of inclined to soften the chin up a little bit. May almost give him a little bit of a double chin. You know, just a little bit of fat under the wattles. I think it's you know, I don't know any of the particulars of running a website like ArtFight. I can't even begin to fathom the kind of management finesse one would need to run such a website. But I will say it's probably I feel like the fact that you can't attack your own characters or include your own characters in an attack. Well, no, I feel like you can include your own characters. It just wouldn't count. I don't know. I feel like the fact that you're a little bit disincentivized to include your own characters in art fight, mainly because it goes against the spirit of the whole event, is kind of a funny choice because I feel like at one point we're gonna have some random dude out here who is setting up like he's gonna have his character being or they're gonna have their character go around like fucking Goku with in a fight scene with every single character they can find permissions for, and the character's gonna be showing up like, hey, I heard you're pretty strong. I feel like there has to be at least one guy running around in the art fight ecosystem that's like that, drawing everyone's characters shaking hands with yours like it's the end of a business meeting. I feel like I'm genuinely surprised that's not a thing that more people do. That there's not more people who are like embarking on like a journey of themed attacks. Where they only attack specific kinds of characters. Like maybe one time they're all doing like object head characters or something like that. Or maybe this person draws every character that they attack as a maid. I don't know. I feel like that would be kind of impressive. I definitely see stuff like that a bit. Okay, good. I'm maybe I'm just not paying enough attention to the attack ecosystem because I feel like I haven't seen those. I've never encountered such an artisan, such a warrior before. Also, hi, Adept. But yeah, no, the one person running around I've seen all the time with groups like big Splatoon OC group attacks. Oh, that makes sense actually. That's cool. That's really cool though. I feel like that's nice as a community thing, right? Like you're recognizing, hey, everybody else here also likes Splatoon. Let's fucking go. Drawing their characters like it's a customer picture in a restaurant that's seen celebrities and other happy customers. God, having a character and having a bunch of other characters in like the Wall of Fame for people who visited the restaurant would be phenomenal work. I assume that happens elsewhere too, but a ton of people who do Splatoon art, so that's most of what I've seen at least. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Okay, so this kind of goes around shoulder length. God, yeah. Splatoon artists are some of like the most diverse art subcultures that I've seen on Earth. Like you will have people who are making Mona Lisa level paintings of one of those little squidling creatures, and it's frankly awesome. Everybody loves those little guys. If there was a Pabst versus fast food joint, what would it be? Probably a gyudon restaurant. I'm thinking that it would be like a beef bowl restaurant for sure. Weird little squid guys. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think if there was like a Pabs restaurant, if I were to have like a Gorillas esque phase moment where I would change the narrative of like what the channel is about, and it had to be food themed, I think I would make like a beef bowl restaurant or something like that. I'm not skilled enough at making tacos to open up one of those. And I have no confidence in my. I feel like running a burger joint might give me a few gray hairs. So I feel like Gyodon restaurant is a nice middle ground. That does sound rad as fuck. Nice. Okay, let's get rid of the line here And there we go. Okay. God. I tell this story a couple of times because I'll never emotionally recover from it. You know how, like, when you move away from a place, you remember one specific restaurant near where you used to live that you always yearn for a little bit? Well, where you'll be like in your new city, being like, "Man, I miss that. I miss that place that did those really decent barbecue ribs, or that place that used to make really good breadsticks." For me, I had a beef bowl restaurant where I lived for a point. Like I lived in a place where they were building a mall for basically the entire 5 or so years I lived there. And when they finally finished the mall, they actually had a gyudon restaurant right there in the mall that you could go to. I got to go there during like lunchtime during my last year of high school, and it was awesome. They would like make your bowl in like less than 5 minutes because it was all just like fried beef and rice, and you could like sit down and eat that thing and polish it off in less than 10 minutes. Get back with plenty of time to spare, and it'll cost like what, $8 at most. I'm trying to remember some conversion rates in my head, but yeah, it was very economical and it was awesome, and I miss it so much. I recently found a grocery store nearby that sells like Korean style barbecue beef strips, which might be suitable for making gyudon slices. Yeah, no, that shit will stay with me until the grave, I think. And the worst part is that none of the Japanese food places near where I live do beef bowls. They have like karage and what do you call takoyaki, which that place didn't have, but it's not what I want. Well, it is what it is. I will say the funniest part of living where I live, the rice yearns for the beef bowl. Yeah, I do yearn. Occasionally, I yearn. I am known to be capable of yearning. God. Anyway, as I was saying, one of the funniest parts about living where I live is that there's this pizza joint near where I live that I like personally. I enjoy their cuisine. And one day I was like, now come to think of it, a friend of mine introduced me to this place. So I've never actually seen like the online reviews for it. Well, I wonder what it says. So I took a look at the reviews, and half of them were like, "Yeah, no, this place's pizza is a little bit greasy, but it's great to come when you're high." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool." And it makes sense too because the place is open until like way late into the night. But it's like that a great number of the responses mentioned being high. Like of the 10 or so reviews that I saw, at least three of them mentioned people being high and going to that restaurant for food. Effective in their niche. That's a great way of looking at it. I think that's the best way to describe it. They are very effective at what they do. The other day, I actually got some pizza from them because I got hungry, and I went upstairs to my building's terrace to eat my slice because it was a nice day out. It was a little bit windy, but I kind of wanted to eat while the weather is still nice for the summertime. So I did that. And throughout the entire thing, I was sitting there with my eyes to the sky, very paranoid, because a flock of seagulls was nearby, and I was worried they were going to try and eat my pizza. I mean, I still ate there, which, might say a lot more about me than it does about the seagulls. I don't know. I feel like the seagulls where I live just aren't built the way that, like, American. They're not built like American seagulls. They're not mean. They're certainly not built like Australian seagulls. You go around in Australia. Everybody's seen those signs in Australia that say, like, don't have your food out. If a seagull eats your food, we are not replacing your food. That's like the seagull's food now. You have by not locking in, you have willingly given away your food to that seagull. Mind you, this is just how the business operates. They don't like it as much any more than we do, but they've come to understand that the seagull always gets their due from the tourists. But the seagulls here don't really have that kind of ambition. They're not that passionate about their work. They don't randomly accost human beings for their meals. What are you going to do? Sue the seagulls? Precisely. Got all the owners with a sign like that outside their shop. Is like at the end of the work shift, they clock out, they go into their little office, and they take off their disguise, revealing that they're actually like 10 or so seagulls all stacked on top of each other. And are like, all right, boys, we got another good day of work. All right, what did the external team get? How many boxes of fries did they steal today? Only 7. That brings the average down, but we should still meet quota. It's like some kind of racket. Having a spider in your house is great because in exchange for not ending their lives instantly, you kind of get kind of like a bouncer, kind of like a mafia protection racket in your house, being like, "Hey, listen, I will, you're gonna let me into your home, and in exchange for that, I'm gonna eat away any interlopers that dare take residence up inside your apartment. How's that sound? Money laundering kind of deal, but with food, yeah." I don't know. I feel like that's no longer money laundering so much as it is like a perpetual scam where if you keep fooling these people, you just get more money to make more food to feed yourselves, and that's the kind of reward. It's not so much money laundering as it is just an infinite food hack. That's way more accurate. Oh my god. There was this one dude named Victor Lustig, right? Very infamous con man. This dude was like the wily ass con man for a long time, right? His feats include like conning people into buying the Eiffel Tower for scrap metal. Like, this is the kind of mastermind we're working with. He was that good. God, he would do numbers in Silicon Valley today. But one of my favorite exploit of Victor Lustig's wasn't the Eiffel Tower thing. That one was good, but to me personally, my favorite scam of his was the like infinite money box scam. And to elaborate on what that was, Victor would have like this box, right? He would show it off to crooks and counterfeiters and be like, "All right, fellas, now you'll love this next one." Now, what this here is a box that can infinitely print money. You put in a normal thing of paper, and you turn the crank, and after you finish turning the crank, it will produce a fresh, crisp $20 note. And here's the kicker: for it to work properly, you need to wait at least 4 hours between every time you activate the machine. And what would happen is that these rooms would pay like, I don't know, $100 or so for this machine that could print $20 bills, and they would be like, "All right, let's print the money." And they would wait the 4 hours to wait and to print the next one, and then they would realize, "Oh, wait a minute, this is just a normal box." But then 4 hours will have passed, and our boy Victor would have already been way out of town by that point. Like the 4 hour thing was just so he could buy time to skedaddle. And per an anecdote, one time while he was running this grift somewhere, he actually ran into a person that he had hit with that grift earlier. Like one of the people who had bought the money machines, like this gangster dude, had found him and was like, "Oh my god, I've been looking for you." And Victor, like obviously very nervous, is like, "Oh yeah, what's up, big guy?" And the gangster's like, "All right, okay, don't get mad, but we did not wait the full 4 hours. We waited 2 hours. I'm sorry. I think we broke the machine. Do you have like a replacement?" This guy was so thick that he thought that he broke the machine. And Victor thought Victor thought he was gonna die. Like I would have thought that was gonna die, but no, it turns out that this guy is just like exceptionally stupid. God, the disillusionment of that poor criminal though. Oh right, I forgot the eyebrows. Those are very important. Okay, so we're gonna need. Actually, this other pair of eyebrows needs to be moved up a little bit. There we go. I guess the reason I didn't miss the eyebrows too much is because they would have been covered by the hair to begin with. For the most part. Okay, then this is gonna come up like this. But yeah, like I said, Victor Lustig would have done numbers in today's society. Like now that grifting is no longer a thing of fraudulence so much as it is a widely accepted and performed business strategy. It's I don't know. It's like it's kind of like how some people are like, man, I wish like I don't know, friggin' Musashi was around to show off his sword skills. I wish I could see that guy like do a TED talk or like a keynote speech on a bunch of different tech bros and see what happens. I feel like their heads would explode. All right, so real quick, what I might do out here is I'm gonna go to the hands in the model and I'm gonna make them just a tiny bit bigger. Or actually, maybe I shouldn't show the hands at all, and I should just like take care of them during the painting stage. I feel like that would be a better option. This is going to kind of swirl around like this. There we go. Actually, come to think of it, I was mentioning earlier how there might be like more themed art attacks during art fight. I think another thing that happens as well is that I know that fight actually has, within their Discord server, multiple mini events throughout the year. So it might be possible that that kind of energy is reserved for those kind of events. You don't really need to go all out during July, drawing everybody in a maid dress, when you can just like participate in maid dress week over at the server and get it out of your system. It's kind of like it's kind of like tuckering a dog out before they have to go before the evening, so they can like work out all their energy into like a walk or into their toys or something. Maybe that's also a moderation strategy. Okay. Moving this over here. Okay. Oh yeah. So I don't know if I've talked about this. Very recently, my city had a boil water notice, right? Because the generator, the like water plant in our city got like they were without power for like half an hour, so they had a boil water warning, or notice for a couple of days, just in case, to make sure that nobody got sick off of the 30 minutes set where the water wasn't properly filtrated, which was a wise decision. I don't, at least I'd never checked out the reports after the fact, but it sounds like nobody got sick. We didn't have a whole lot of people who suddenly got ill off of the water. So that's a good thing. That being said, they announced this just the day that I was doing my dishes, and by the time I finished cleaning my dishes, I was like, "Oh man, come on!" Like I literally finished washing all my dishes. Now I have to wash them again because I washed them like right before the boiling water notice hit. So now I have to make sure they don't have any like salmonella germs or something. But this has led to the very funny outcome of me having to find a substitute water bottle. And what I've settled on is an old. It's been empty for a long time. An old bottle of Maker's Mark bourbon that I used up making marinades. I've just been drinking it out of an old waxed peaked bourbon bottle, and honestly, it's kind of awesome. I don't know. There's something very sturdy feeling about a glass bottle. I don't know. I don't think it's a good idea to use it for too long, though. I think this weekend I'll properly roll up my sleeves and do a deep dive into my dishes. Make sure that they're all nice and clean. Like the bourbon bottle is nice, but it's not enter the realm of dishes. Yeah, the dish gauntlet. God. I feel like doing the dishes should also have been one of the Greek like legendary punishments. I feel like Poseidon should have gotten in on the Sisyphus action and been like, all right, so you get the rock, I get to make him clean ceramics forever and ever and ever until he dies. The end. I don't know. It's genuinely my least favorite household task, mainly because it requires you to do something every day. Like I'm cool doing stuff that is not necessary every day because then it's almost like a novelty, right? But then if there is like a thing that needs to be done every day, or else it's going to start becoming an issue, that's when I start to get a little bit resentful with it. Like laundry, I'm chill with because I don't need to do laundry every day. I can let that pile up a little bit and then just do most of it in one day. But with dishes, if you don't lock in, you're gonna get weevils or some shit. You're gonna get ants. You're gonna get all kinds of nasty little wugs, and it's gonna be a problem for you. And it sucks. I don't know. I really do feel like while this feels like a pretty bad idea, I do feel like we should start trying to find ways to implement gotcha game incentivization strategies into our daily life so we do the fucking dishes. I don't know. If anybody figures out how to make AI do that, then I might be sold on the whole product. But like until then, we've still got problems that are much more urgent that need to be fixed. Doing my dailies, but it's just like shaving. God, I also need to shave again. I've been letting my whiskers grow a little bit too long, and now I've got like vermicelli sprouting out of my chin. Or vermicelli is the rice noodle, right? I feel like it is. Or glass noodles or something. Hang on. Vermicelli is just a thin type of noodle. Okay. So what's like a rice noodle? There we go. For a specific form of thin rice noodles, look up rice vermicelli. Okay, so it is vermicelli. It is sometimes referred to as rice noodles or rice sticks, but should not be confused with cellophane noodles, a different type of a different Asian type of vermicelli made from mung bean starch or rice starch rather than rice grains themselves. These are pretty cool looking. I had a few bundles of these back in university. I ended up cooking them with soy sauce. They look really cool. That that looks like it's so spicy, but it would hit so good. With the scallions on top, this one's probably also very spicy. There doesn't seem to be anything spicy about it, but it is Korean, so I am inclined to believe it's going to be spicy. Japchae, a savory and slightly sweet. Okay. Hmm. Oh, these noodles are made from sweet potato starch. Okay, so it's definitely like more on the sweet side. All right, that's a neat surprise. That's on me for assuming. I'll take that out. Okay. It is also popular at banquets, parties, and potlucks due to the ease of bulk preparation and flexible serving. Japchae can be served warm, at room temperature, or cold from the refrigerator and can be eaten freshly made or the day after. That's pretty handy. Gochu japchae. Yo, pepper steak. Interesting, interesting. All right, what other kind of other kind of recipes are there in cellophane noodles? Panchit sotanghon. Looks good. Looks decent. That's an entire half lemon. Just like the hit video game Off. Yeah. Having is it they literally just hang it out to dry. That's awesome. Health concerns. There were several food safety incidents originating in China. In 2004, a number of companies in Yantai were found to be producing Lonko sulfate noodles with cornstarch instead of green beans to reduce costs. In order to make the cornstarch transparent, they were adding sodium formaldehyde sulfoxylate and lead-based whiteners to their noodles. Holy shit! In December 2010, Czech Food Inspections authorities inspecting Chinese sulfate noodles determined that 142 milligrams per kilo of aluminum had been added to them. Above 10 milligram per kilo is an illegal amount for noodles in Czech and EU markets. They had literally 10 times the maximum amount. You're gonna be walking around with fucking. You better not go to a CAT scan after that. You better not go to like one of those tube machine scans after all that shit. If you eat like 8 bowls of those, you're gonna be able to like crap out an entire aluminum soda can. My delicious lead noodles, yeah. The lead is a special ingredient. That's what those Czech food inspection experts had no fucking clue about, is that the lead is actually what makes it taste good. Superman, you can no longer see through me. I have ingested millions of. Okay, can you like get me to the hospital? I have eaten so many lead noodles. Oh my god. God, and Superman is like, even before he has to be taken to the hospital, Superman's like, okay. Has that new like did the noodles also have kryptonite? Like that's like the main problem, man. Like we've established that lead can stop my see-through vision, but it's not like, it's not. That's really not the main thing for. That's not even like an offensive power. That's really only useful if you're like trying to hide something. I'm out here. I'm out here trying to hit you with my heat vision and shit. You're like 80% lead now. I'm gonna take you to the hospital, but like, goddamn, dude, you did not think this through. Anybody ever tell you might not be cut out for this gangster shit? Are you just like really self-conscious about your cuts or what? God. Anime girl who's like, yeah, don't look, but it's about like her fucking her like intestinal x-rays, and you can very clearly see like there's a car battery in there or something. Do I say things like this because I'm bored? Why would I say that? Like I could sneak a bomb or something, I guess. Again, that's not really going to be a problem for Superman. That's not going to be what he's going to be concerned about. I mean, I guess if like there are other people there, that would be a problem, right? If there are other people and like he's aware of like a bomb plot. But I feel like at the same time, being the one dude in a crowd who just cannot be scanned for the fucking life of him also makes you kind of suspicious. No, the real way to sneak a bomb near Superman is to be at the national bomb eating contest. Only way you can do it. You gotta hide a tree amongst the forest. You know what I mean. Guy who really wants to fight Superman but has neither the brains nor the brawn to make it work. Upon hearing the words lead noodles and processing nothing else. Yeah, that dude had a grudge and he did not care how it was carried out. He had no consideration. I don't know. I feel like that guy would be a better fit for a Batman villain, honestly. Like I feel like that guy would be like a credible threat in Gotham. That like if he kept hanging out in Metropolis, like eventually even like Lex Luthor would be like, "All right, man, listen, we're kind of getting tired of having to bail you out of like we don't know I don't know why we invited you to our like League of Supervillains, but it's obvious your whole thing is just like eating lead noodles until you get sick and then hoping Superman comes close enough to you to punch him in the throat or some shit. You're not even using kryptonite or anything, man. Come on." And he's like, no, 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 trust me. This time I'll get him. No thoughts, only lead noodles. Yep. But like if he was in Gotham, at that point, like even the Joker would be like, well, I just had to see the darling fellow who just keeps eating leaded noodles. I say, would you like a spot? Would you like to hang out with me sometime? We could hang out together and eat Joker mush. It'll be a grand old ball. 99% of lead noodle eaters quit before they win big. That's right. It'll be like a whole kind of like self confidence message episode where in like My Adventures with Superman, where this guy is gonna just be awful at being a villain in Metropolis, to the point where even Superman is like, all right, we got to transfer this guy to like a better habitat or some shit. He is clearly not fitting in well here. The other supervillains are bullying him. We got to find something we can do for him. So he just like dumps him on Bruce and is like, all right, man, have fun with him. And Bruce is like, whatever. I remember seeing a Tumblr post saying that like the more likely thing that Superman would do as Clark Kent is to just complain and do reports about how much lead piping there is in Metropolis and be like, this is inexcusable. We can't continue to do this because like he needs that to see, and everybody thinks he's like just some kind of meta human who can detect lead. All timer post for me to me. God, I know that Ecuador got a pretty short end of the stick over in the Marvel universe. I kind of don't want to see what its status is in the DC universe. I don't know, unless we have something as cool as like the those guys that ended up training Batman and were the villains of Batman Returns. I kind of don't want to know about it. Or Batman Begins. I don't know. One of those. I think it was Batman Begins because it goes. Okay, so it goes. Batman Begins, Dark Knight, and then Dark Knight Rises. DK. One of those Batman, yeah. One of the mid aughties Batman films. I remember my brother accidentally showed me trying to like hang out with my older brother has led to a lot of moments of me being traumatized because I remember he specifically when my brother hung out with my cousin and I wanted to be included. I accidentally traumatized myself a couple of times because they were watching stuff that was like cool to them as like teenagers, but like little baby me couldn't handle. Like I remember one time my cousin came over for a sleepover and he was like, "Oh man, you want to play some Resident Evil 4 with my brother?" And I'm like, and he was like, "Hell yeah, bro!" And me being like 7 or so years old, I'd be like, "Yo, can I join in?" And they were like, I don't know, man. Are you sure?" And I'll be like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah. Come on, let me in." And then I would see like the zombies and get nightmares for weeks. Or then when I saw Batman Begins and I saw the scene where Bruce's parents get killed, and I would be like torn up about it, like traumatized because I was worried about my parents dying. Hanging out with my older brother and his friends, like, I can totally handle this stuff. And yeah, no. Half of my childhood is me being like that one tiger meme that's like, he realized he's not built for this, because I well and truly was just not built for this. Like, I'm not built to this to the extent that I'm questioning what exactly I was built for. If not this. Of course, I got a lot better as I got older. I'm still a little bit of a weenie about horror stuff, but I'm getting better little by little. The problem with me is that I'm easily fascinated by the grotesque, but I get nightmares seeing actual grotesque stuff. I don't know. Like I said, I feel like I've gotten a lot better though. Like I played Signalis and that wasn't really a problem, and that's supposed to be a super scary game. I'm a tough guy. I'm a strong I'm a strong fella. And when like a floating PNG, a floating rotating PNG of a ghost shows up, I'm not scared at all. Paths right before hitting his screamer. God, I feel like that's probably what's helped a lot is that I don't play games that have like screamers in them when it comes to horror games. Like every single jump scare in those games is a direct result of my lack of self awareness. All right, I think that should be good for the colors or for the line art. My bad. Let's start working on the filling. I need to start. I need to start like memorizing the "Get It Twisted" clip from Northern Line, so I can recite it like the mantra of fear from Dune. It's that one scene from Dune where the kid puts his hand in the box and he's like, "Fear is the mind killer," but instead, like the Bene Gesserit woman is like, "Get it twisted. Your actions impact nothing." I really should finish reading Dune at some point, but I got some other shit that I have to lock into first. That's still such a good clip. It is. I think it's like the clip of the year to me. I don't know if we're gonna find a way to top that one. Frankly, I don't know. I feel like I feel like nowadays, because of how many, you know, the kinds of issues that we're facing nowadays are definitely more kind of like internals. Well, no, there's plenty of external issues to go around, no matter where you look. But for a lot of people, the kind of issues that they're dealing with are very much like those like internal struggles. So it's like man versus self kind of fights. And I do feel like that voice clip really that one clip of the Sisyphus game really captures very well just how that feels to just fight against yourself, to be because like past a certain point you stop really caring about competing with other people, not and start competing with yourself, not because like they're necessarily no longer better than you, but because you realize that if you cannot lock in and overcome your own limitations, then you don't even have the opportunity to compete with other people. I don't know. You know how like some people say that you can't really love other people till you love yourself? It's kind of like that, but for the entire principle of locking in. You can't lock in to face other people until you lock in to face yourself. But yeah, good clip. Good ass clip. The one that I'm thinking of is this one from a clip compilation that I saw on Tumblr where he was like, "Do you have pneumonia?" I don't think so. I set a PB on the old Peloton last Tuesday. Could a person with pneumonia do that? And it's just like the delivery of everything. Great stuff. Okay, there we go. And then, did we miss any spots? There's a little part missing here. Okay, does he have like a specific color for his eyebrows? They look slightly darker. Oh, the eyebrows are a solid color. I see. It's bad form to make them like actual key blacks, so I'm gonna give them like just a various amount of voluminosity and try to get away with it that way. Might as well do that for the mouth. Oh wait, no, that's a. Actually, you know what? Probably having it be white, just for the teeth. Yeah, there we go. I forgot to add a little bit over here. Okay. Oh, the inside of the jacket is this kind of grayish color. Okay, cool. Alright, that should just about do it for the major parts. I'm going to make the little straps here also the inside of the hoodie grayish. It's also time to turn off my orange light filter because now I need to lock in and figure out the how to draw fire again. Hang on. Maybe if I just Google fire. Okay, I accidentally Googled FIFRE instead of fire. That's FIFRE. And what's all this about? Le FIFRE est un petit flûte traversier, projet de piccolo mas provede de clé, largement utilisé dans la musique traditionnelle européenne, dans la musique folklorique ainsi que dans certains ensembles militaires occidentaux. Can I get this in English, Four Eyes? Oh, a fife. A small, high-pitched transverse aerophone that is similar to the piccolo. What does the green man have to do with any of this? The fife originated in medieval Europe and is often used in fife and drum corps, military units, and marching bands. The German Pfeife, meaning pipe, comes from the Latin word pipare. The fife is diatonical backshots, tuned instrument that commonly consists of a tube with 6 finger holes and an embouchure hole that produces sound when blown across. Huh. Primarily made of wood such as blackwood, granadilla, rosewood, mopane, pink ivory, cocobolo, boxwood, maple, or persimmon. Some fifes are entirely made of metal or plastic. This shit looks like it should be a weapon in Lies of P. This thing looks like it's supposed to be like a blunted sword. Okay. A pisha. Ooh. Yo. Oh my god. You know the function turns up when your homeboy brings one of these. That is a fucking trumpet. Let's take a look here. I see. Okay. Now back to what I was actually looking for. Oh, this image goes hard. Okay. Lies of P2 will let you attach that into that pipe an axe blade made out of fingers. Thank you, Google image search. Yeah, no. Hang on, like if you look up hang on. Oh, this might have the double-edged sword of bringing up some AI results, but I'm gonna try it anyway. Like cool anime background or wallpaper. This is some shit. This is some shit that you would do in like middle school, right? You would just Google cool anime wallpaper, and yeah, you would get some shit like this, and you'd be like, "That goes hard," and 100% set it as your background. Like this? Oh my god! Yeah, 100%. This 100% passes a classic image of the girl with the cross. I feel like I'm not tall enough for that. Hang on, anime emo girl with cross. Like this one, yeah? The thing is, I feel like her lanky stature is what defines this. I might have to get. I have Wolfwood Trigon if you want to go for that joke. That's a good point, actually. I would look great in a Wolfwood cosplay, mainly because I do wear business wear most of the day. What I might be able to do is I might be able to bribe Tool into helping me replicate this, in a kind of like stacked together kind of method. Both of us would be wearing like skin patterned outer suits, and then we would need some kind of like structural support, maybe a step ladder or something. I don't know, maybe we could leverage the cross as that support. We don't see the bottom of it, so that might be... Yeah, I don't feel like doing that. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. I don't feel like... I don't want to do all that. I do like the idea of Wolf with Trigon, though. That does sound hardcore. I forgot to actually bring that image of fire into the canvas, so I do need to go back real quick. Alright, let's see here. God. I feel like the Wolfwood outfit would also be a little bit disproportional, though. Like that cross would be approximately 4 times my body size, and it would look hilarious. Do not get it twisted; it would look hilarious. But I'm just imagining like the proportions of it, right? It'll look a little bit like... Hang on. Like, if I'm making the shoe that size, hang on. I need to remember what Wolfwood looks like real quick. I know he just basically has a jacket and a normal pair of slacks. And I think he doesn't wear socks, unfortunately. Yeah, okay. Where's my normal eraser? There we go. That's too wide. I don't have shoulders that are that big. Okay, there we go. I'm missing a finger. Okay, then the other arm will kind of hang over here. There's like a greasiness to Wolfwood's expression that I don't think is easily able to be captured. Like, I don't know, there's something about, like, he looks like a perfectly normal guy from the waist up, but then, like, you get from the neck up and you're instantly like, oh yeah, this dude looks like he stinks. I don't know, there's something magical that is just baked into his facial structure. Like you get past the neck and you're immediately like, this guy has not showered for at least 4 days, maybe more. Also, the what makes me feel a little bit conflicted about this is that Wolfwood is, I think, is supposed to be a Protestant priest, and I was raised Catholic, so this feels like some kind of weird appropriation. Ah, well, you can't win them all. There we go. All right, back to work. Okay, so now I'm remembering how to draw fire from this from this picture here. So we need to have like a kind of more towards orange color to begin with, more saturated than that. I still need to finish reading some of my issues of Trigun Maximum. I got some of them from a Humble Bundle, I think, and I've been chipping away at them here and there, but I haven't finished reading the comic. I got to like the part where they're going to like some weird place with Wolfwood and Vash, but I didn't get much further than that. Wolfwood was trouncing some big dude in a BDSM mask. I don't know what to tell you. That's as close as I can remember. Normal day out in wherever the hell they live, some kind of far off planet colony. I'm gonna take a quick sip of water from my clean bourbon bottle. Another cool thing about using the glass bottle as my current drinking receptacle of choice is the fact that it does make a very cool bloop 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 sound whenever I drink it when it's full. I don't know, it just feels appropriate. It's kind of weird that if you play your cards right, fire should at most be like 4% red. I don't know. I feel like fire isn't really supposed to be red. It's supposed to be more like yellowish and orange and white. But whenever, like people always use like red as the color to represent fire because it's just the easiest shorthand for hot. I don't know. It just feels weird to have that in the language of colors. Or I guess it also looks like that with embers, right? So from that perspective, I can understand it. But yeah, it's definitely one of those less is more kind of things. Hang on, I gotta bring the pose back real quick. Okay, yeah. What I might just do is actually remove this line here. Okay. We can remove the model real quick, add this. And what I want to do after that is I want to go back and now is when we kind of start considering more kind of like the redder side of the spectrum. Like right around here, for example. Just some little bits of red. Well, a little bit more than a little. Oh yeah, that looks a little... What color should I use for that? No, that doesn't make any sense. May also yellow? No. It feels like it should be a different color, but I don't know what color it should be. Maybe if I play around with the toning of it. Now, see, I feel like now we're missing too much orange here from this equation. So here's what let's do. We'll add a little bit more. Actually, you know what? Maybe having just small streaks of red might be the answer here. Ooh, yeah, okay. I like how that looks. Nope. Maybe we can increase the brush size a little bit more too, just to make our life easier. No, that doesn't feel right. Okay, maybe we leave. Okay, and then just a little bit at a time over here. I feel like we're going to have to increase the complexity of it a little bit. But it's a good start. It's better, but I'm not feeling it just yet. Let's go back a few steps. I don't know. Maybe from here on we can figure out some more complex rendering techniques for the fire. Maybe there's supposed to be a more yellow right here, and I just missed it. Nope. Doesn't feel like the right answer, but maybe it's because of these other lines in place. Let's try this. feel like there needs to be a specific reason for... Oops. Forgot that I was working on one layer for these. Okay, this is feeling more appropriate. I don't know, maybe I just needed to try some other stuff out before I try to go off the deep end. Okay. Okay. I feel like I'm getting the hang of this. Okay, and now the actual the actual parts of the hands that are on fire. Actually, hang on. Might we be able to get away with a gradient or two? Okay, yeah. The humble gradient. I've hired this humble gradient to stare at you. Alright, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna have this. Hang on. Let's just see how it goes with pure white, and then we can kind of keep figuring out from there what do we want to do. Okay, then over here. How does that look? Interesting effect. Not sure I'm a huge fan of it, but Okay, this feels good. Okay. Feels like we need something closer to white, but not quite. No, okay. No, that yellow spot has no reason to be there. Let's just leave it as is. Or to have like the inner circle. Let's just leave that as is. Okay, then moving over here, we're going to use the same principles for the other hand. Okay, we might need to move this line a little bit further down. Okay. Then go back and patch that up with the color. Okay. Then next up we got doing the rest of the hand here. What I need to be careful of as well is to remind myself to have a tiny little space between each joint, because that just helps communicate the shape much more clearly. Even though I will probably cover, emphasize it later with like one of the other tones available. Okay. It occurs to me that I might not be able to be trusted with like trade secrets, because I feel like I would be very easy to talk out of those out of. Like somebody will be like, "Wow, that's such a cool effect. How did you do it?" And I would not be able to resist shutting up about how I did it. I don't know. I feel like I'm decent at like keeping stuff under wraps, but I feel like I also have a vital weakness to being helpful. You know how like some people tell you as a piece of advice to never offer more information than what you need to offer. You know, and this is true of a lot of situations, right? Like if you're running late for whatever reason, right, or like you need to reschedule something, and if it's like a personal matter as well, this is like to maintain distance with whomever you're speaking, or to like maintain a degree of privacy or credibility for yourself, right? Like this is like only in situations where you need to be like emotional power play mode, rather than like just casually chatting with a friend. If you just don't say the reason why you're running late and just say, "Hey, I'm running a little late. Could we reschedule?" They're not going to be the person that decides to be an asshole today and be like, "Oh, well, why are you late?" Or like, "What seems to be the problem?" Mainly because it's not something, because like if they ask, they're like hoping that they're going to be able to solve it. But at the same time, it's like they usually won't ask, and you don't need to tell them, and that's going to save you so much trouble. Not only because it like means that you don't need to like assign blame to anything, right? Like that's a huge part of it as well. It's just like the fact that you don't need to be like, "Oh, that's this person's fault. It's my fault." It's like you stop looking for, who needs to be held responsible, and more start you become more kind of like goal oriented almost. Of course, there's situations where like somebody fucks up without a doubt, and you have the right to be mad at them, and they have the right to be mad at you if you're the one who fucked up. But those situations become like increasingly, should at least be rare enough that you don't need to worry about your professional credibility being damaged. But well, so it goes. I remember somebody actually made I remember earlier while I was looking through Twitter, I saw somebody made a fan art of Bodoke and the monkey, of like the monkey guy. I think I don't know. I never watched much of 31 Minutos because I never ended up getting. I was too young to understand satire or the sense of humor of them. I don't know. Maybe they spoke in a different Spanish dialect, and that threw me off as a kid. But it seems like a sympathetic enough show. But yeah, they had fan art of Boloke and the monkey guy from 31 Minutos as Johnny and Hiro from part 6 of JoJo, and it's quite fantastic. Okay, so now we have those fire effects. I'm pretty happy with those. Although I feel like the yellow could do with a little bit of changes to its shading. I don't know. Should I? Hmm. Okay. Now I should save. All right. Now we can get the shading on the character. The bad part is I have no idea what I'm gonna do for the background yet. May a solid color might be in order here. Okay, then that's gonna make a dent right there. I feel like we could probably go a little bit lighter than that, just a touch lighter. All right, there we go. Okay, that's gonna come up like this. And it's gonna have a small gap right between these two because of the other fire up here. Having multiple light sources is really kind of... Unless, hang on. Yeah, that'll work. Or actually, no, I'm gonna make it a solid color. When the cool fires also happen to generate light. Yeah. I don't know, it'd be cool to make like a nice and detailed... Or actually, you know what I found as a cool cheat sheet or cheat for the sort of situation? Just use use a gradient erase to just get rid of some of the light coming up from the top. That actually helps quite a bit. Although that being said, you do need to then juggle that with just making sure the shadows are consistent where they're supposed to be, right? Like, so for example, right here there would be a shadow cast no matter what. Okay. That's going to go in like this, and then there's going to be a little bit of metal shine over here. Let's add another layer just in case. I don't want to lose the progress that I've made on some of this stuff. Also, that way we can keep doing that trick with the gradients. Okay, then... I don't know, I feel like I should turn up some of the... what do you call the... saturation on this part. Let's see actually what we can do with the shading for this layer as well. Ooh, with the purple is kind of an interesting choice. It really ought to be studied in the lab why some ideas work and some don't. It really rakes me over the coals whenever I try something, it works, but then I do the same thing somewhere else and it doesn't work. And that's fair because not every situation is the exact same. But at the same time, I get very easily frustrated when it's like that, where no matter how much I learn from an experience, the next one is always it is always like waiting there to humble me a little bit. I don't know. There's very few ways you can like permanently progress in this life. You're always at risk of kind of going backwards a little bit now and again. And that's not a bad thing either, right? Like it is very much kind of just the nature of things. If you don't use it, you'll lose it. That sort of idea. But I don't know. Okay. So the good news is that this part back here is definitely going to be shaded. But then the arms over here. So individual arms are actually going to be a little bit easier too, since they're not going to really be worried about stuff like the other source of light in the picture. They're just going to be worried about their closest flame. God, come to think of it, those people who worked on Fire Force, the anime, must have gotten cracked and sick and tired of figuring out where to do like two-directional lighting for fire, because like almost all the characters have like multi-fire attacks, right? Like even the main guy, his whole thing is that his feet light on fire, and you've got two dogs out at any given moment. So that's you're gonna learn a thing or two about like multi-directional passive light from that anime. Actually, that would have been a good idea, just to reference Fire Force for like how to do a simplified thing of fire. That would have been much smarter than the thing that I did, which is look at non-abstracted fire. The thing about the levels of abstraction, right? The further you get from like the origin of an idea, from like the reality of an idea, the easier it is to fumble what you're doing. But at the same time, the closer you get to abstraction, the more abstraction you deploy, the easier it is to draw. And the fewer rules there are that would normally pertain to real life fire. Because in real life fire, even stuff like humidity, the kind of surrounding air temperature, that sort of thing, will play a huge role in how it acts and performs and plays off of different surfaces. But usually we don't really worry about all that. We just worry about like the very basics of it. So yeah, the more you abstract something, the more likely it is to lack substance. But at the same time, if you don't extract things, you will almost invariably end up with like an onerous task in front of you. I guess it all comes down to like deploying the abstraction principle in a smart way. Yeah, I gotta abstract at least a little bit. Not abstracting, yeah, like being completely unwilling to abstract also creates problems because then that's how you get stuff like Uncanny Valley or that one animation style where instead of having actual mouths being animated, they would just take pictures of the actors' mouths talking and then they would superimpose that over the drawings, making a very creepy look. That just did not vibe well. I feel like that was especially egregious. Like I feel like you would have you like somebody in the room must have been inclined to think, wait a minute, if we're animating the rest of the body, but we're just keeping the mouth moving, wouldn't it be even more efficient to just like do very basic lip flaps, like a 3 frame animation to just like do talking and just sync that up? Is that not like more efficient? You can maybe avoid abstracting for the most part if you're like some 17th century painter with a rich sponsor that wants you to make something as realistic as possible. Yeah, and even then, you're still abstracting a little bit. You're still doing some shit that's not in the rule book, right? Like even with Rembrandt, right? Or I don't know, whoever was like really famous for doing like chiaroscuro and shit like that. They were romanticizing the shadows and the ways they behaved in order to create additional drama in their paintings. Drama is in like a dramatic impact, not as the paintings weren't fighting. To be clear, or actually, I don't know. Maybe they were. I have no right to assume the creative processes of the old masters. I don't know. Maybe that's how Rembrandt got his creative juices flowing. He would just like pit two paintings against each other in a knife fight. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe the paintings had a messy breakup. That's not my business for me to pry into or judge. I'm just here to study. I'm here to learn. New Shonen battle manga dropped. Wasn't there? I feel like I remember there being a manga about like the statue of David being in high school and him having a crush on like the Mona Lisa or something, or like the Venus de Milo. I remember that being a manga. Hang on, is that real? Chad, is he real or is it real or is he tripping? Hang on. Teenage Renaissance David. There we go. Let's take a look at the Wikipedia article real quick. Okay, let's see. Oh, this is a very short Wait, it started in the same age as Jujutsu Kaisen? Oh my, and Chainsaw Man? You are fucking with me. You're fucking with me. Oh my god. 2018. Oh god, and Act Age too. I remember Act Age being really good. God. Doctor Stone started the year before that. 2016 was when Demon Slayer started. Oh my god. The new big three. Pervert David. Okay. Pervert Saman and I don't know, whatever Jujutsu Kaisen's. I don't know. Jujutsu Kaisen has to have at least a few perverts running around. And also, step off my goat. Step off my goat, Denji. he's only a It's hard to explain. Okay, so it's hard to explain my interpretation of like what Denji is, but I feel like it's hard to call him a pervert. He's really interested in sex stuff, but he's not a pervert. If that makes sense. All I know about it is one of my friends is really gay for some of the guys in there. What, Chainsaw Man or Jujutsu Kaisen? Because for Jujutsu Kaisen, yeah, I hear that's a common affliction. I have seen some art of that nah, I'd win guy. Jujutsu Kaisen, yeah, okay. Let me tell you, I have seen some artwork of that nah, I'd win guy in some very compromising situations. Okay, there we go. Oh, hey Leah, how you doing? We're drawing some fire. Or actually, we just got finished drawing some fire. Now we're moving on to other parts of the creative process. Burning alive. Ugh. That's tough to deal with. Yeah, no, heat is very. Yeah, recently I was actually quite worried about my parents because their area had a burnout and they live in Texas because of Hurricane Beryl, and I was super worried for them because like I was worried they were gonna be like, toasting in their. I came in theme. Yeah, I know. And thankfully, yeah, their electricity is down and they don't have any air conditioning. But I did manage to talk to my mom today. They're doing okay. Like my dad definitely goes to the office just so he can experience the air conditioning. But yeah, they're doing okay, thankfully. That's good. I'm glad they're okay. Yeah, I know. It was a huge relief hearing that they weren't like, I don't know, burning alive in the Texan heat. That was me thinking about going to the library. Oh yeah, I should go to the library to experience the air conditioning every now and again. I don't know. I'm going to the Natural History Museum with some of my buddies this weekend, so I might be able to experience it there. But something hits different about library air conditioning. Like I don't know, museum air conditioning, like Natural History Museum air conditioning is too cold. But library air conditioning is kind of nice. It's like at the Goldilocks temperature of like warmth of cooling. Let me know how it goes. That sounds like fun. Yeah, I'm actually quite excited for it. I've been to the steps of the Natural Museum. I've been near the Natural History Museum. I've never actually gone inside of it. So yeah, I'm a guy who lives near a Natural History Museum, excited to attend for the first time. Pab's display. Yeah, they yeah, one of the other reasons that I don't go to the Natural History Museum is because whenever I walk nearby, one of the museum curators stands outside the door with like a comically large net and makes like these very strange expressions at me, hoping to catch me and display me as one of their specimens. However, sadly for him, my feet are too quick and my wiles are too unmatchable. Yeah, bro thought he was him, but unfortunately, my ability to find escape routes had other plans. As hilarious as it would be if that worked, I'm afraid that the would not would not work on me to entice me to a museum display. I would demand like a big cardboard box with like a hunk of cheese and like a stick propping the box up at minimum. I don't move for nothing. All right. I'm at least getting a snack out of the exchange. Okay, there we go. What would probably work really be what would be pretty probably very effective would be one of those like what do you call those like snares, the ones that where like it like flings the animal upwards after it catches them. I feel like those would probably be the most efficient method if you just put those on like the way to a Subway sandwich, or like just realized this for brother. Yeah, it's one of the characters that they have up for art fight. I was like, this looks familiar. Yeah. Yeah, out of all of Butter's characters, Leo looked cold AF, so I decided to draw him. Yeah. How's your art fight going, by the way? Have you carried out your mischievous deeds of attacking everybody indiscriminately while having no characters, so that you may not be assailed yourself? Have you been having success with that? Yeah. I was talking about earlier how bro, I'm not even done with the first piece I started. I see. It's been too hot to draw. Ah, yeah, damn. That'd be a big debuff. I hope it cools down. I hope it cools down for you soon, so you can get back to rocking your life as usual. Heat waves are no joke, and also just so you can generally enjoy life as well. I don't know. I feel like life is difficult to enjoy when it's too hot outside. I wish I had a laptop that works so I could draw at the library. Oof. Yeah. I don't reckon a lot of the library computers accept like Cintiqs as peripherals. I don't know. There might be some way you could finagle that, but it would be a huge hassle as well. Though I could not imagine that would be comfortable to work with. Just having to use a library laptop for everything, or a library computer for everything. Whatever. Yeah, the situation will change sooner or later. Just gotta hang on. Didn't you say you were a summer enjoyer? I mean, I am, but not everybody is. I'm very much enjoying the warmer temperatures. But whenever somebody, but what the weirdest thing happened whenever I say that I'm a summer enjoyer, the nearest summer non-enjoyer seems to want to beat me to death with a rock. So I try to keep that shit to myself. I'm a winter enjoyer. Put me back in a block of ice. You're going caveman mode. You're going like the way of a mammoth. Your ass is that squirrel during Ice Age. That would be me, Pap's son, Pap's wrath. Yeah. Oh yeah, I guess I forgot to shade the belt, huh? Fizzy also enjoys the sun. I'm like, why? I don't know. Maybe I'll come to hate the summertime as well when I'm older. Oh, Andala, hello. How are you doing? I'm Pabs, a rising VTuber and artist. Today we're doing an attack for art fight. Yeah, we're drawing somebody else's OCs. Hang on. What's up? What are y'all up to? What are you doing? Yeah, no, maybe I'm just built different. That's why I enjoy summertime so much. Playing some Death Stranding. Oh, that sounds so much fun. Did you have a good time? I've been meaning to start up Death Stranding. I feel like it would definitely be like the kind of game that I would enjoy. Are you having a good experience with it? What is Death Stranding? It's a game designed by Hideo Kojima, featuring Norman Reedus about a post-apocalyptic mailman that's played by the guy who plays Daryl in Walking Dead, and it's got some very cool, weird sci-fi elements in it. Hang on, it's a game where the dude has a baby strapped to it into his chest. Have you seen that game? That's the game. I was just doing post game stuff. I'm going for 100% achievements. Nice. What do you mean Sabantuha? hang on. Hang on. Let me pull up the. It has a that dude from Hannibal in it. Let me pull up the Google results for the pictures. Have you never seen this? Okay, so come to think of it, to the uninitiated, this is definitely a very strange picture. Matt Mikkelsen, that's a guy. You know, this game was a pretty. This game is like very. God, what was it from? Like the 2008? Oh, 2018, I mean. 2019. It's from 2019, but yeah, it's you play as this guy, and he has a baby strapped to his chest at all times. Yeah, 2019. Hang on, let me take a look at a quick peep at the Wikipedia synopsis. The game is set in an apocalyptic United States where a cataclysmic event known as Death Stranding caused beach things, BTs, and he even chucks monster energy. Invisible creatures originating from the beach. Lands thought to be unique to each person that are typically visited during near-death experiences and are said to be the link to the afterlife, to begin roaming the earth. Or he used to. Wait, did they take that out from the director's cut? Bummer. But yeah. After a lengthy corporate conflict with Konami as a restricted subsidiary, Kojima Productions closed in July 2015 and reformed as an independent video game development studio in December. Is this the one where if you stare at the guy's crotch, he punches you? Or is that something else? That's a... I think that's just normal Metal Gear Solid. I feel like that sounds like a Metal Gear Solid. Oh, wait, no, it is the one? If you stare at the guy's crotch, he punches you? Oh, wait, no, I remember that gif now. Hang on. Death Stranding camera punch. Yeah, here we go. Hang on. Do we have a gif? Do we have a gif of it? We have to do it a bunch. God. Oh, hey, that's a cute little wink. This guy reminds me. So I do know this game. Yeah. Yeah, man. This reminds me of like when you have like a spider trapped under a paper cup and you don't want to take it out of the house just yet. This is kind of like what a spider does inside of that cup. Hang on. None of these are the ones that are the one of it. Oh, this is not the game. Why did he do that? Why did he do that? Why did they take away his mustache? That's fucked up. All right, you know what? Let's get out of this. Out of this death loop. This death loop of random nonsense happening. So yeah, it turns out you do know this game. I feel like it's funny how life works out sometimes. You know, like I know this game because a friend of mine in high school was really looking forward to it because she was a super fan of Mads Mikkelsen, and also like a streamer that I used to watch a lot played it as well. So that's how I'm aware of it. But then you're like, oh yeah, the one where he punches the camera. If you look at his dick too much, that's the one. I don't know. It's kind of magical seeing the different connections that people bring up for different things. It's like being at a relative's wedding and being like, "Well, how do you know John?" And they'd be like, "Oh, he kind of saved my life during a volleyball game. How do you know him?" Oh well, I my cousin introduced him to me when she announced her engagement to him. So it's like how I knew about TF2 because of so much not safe for work of that one guy on Twitter. God. The TF2 Yaoi connection is a time honored tradition. I'm not gonna pretend like that's not a normal way to discover TF2. What? What do you mean what? I feel like it's pretty clear. Actually, come to think of it, I feel like before I started playing TF2, I actually read a Yaoi fan comic of TF2 called Quanta Vida. I knew about TF2. I knew about TF2 conceptually, but I did read the fan comic Quanta Vida before I started playing the game. So in a way, the link is alive within me as well. Path 3 Yaoi, yeah, and you gonna make something of that, or like what? Listen, sometimes the Yaoi comic has fascinating, deep introspective themes about the nature of life during wartime. You learn something new, which reminds me. Go on. What did this remind you of? I feel like there's a limited number of things this could remind you of. Is the thing. The game we played out of the gallery, and while looking through it, someone drew two rabbits kissing. Oh fuck yeah! Hang on, let me crack open the soda can yaoi comic. The huh? The soda can yaoi comic. I haven't read the soda can yaoi comic, unfortunately. To my shame as a connoisseur of culture. Me neither. Maybe it was going around Tumblr in the olden days. Ah, I see. Man, remember back when Tumblr was just making Gijinkas out of everybody? Those were good times, I think. I don't know. I feel like we've kind of lost that art to some extent. That rules. Hang on, let me blow this up on the big screen. There's gonna be a there's gonna be a card that they put into like season 4 of the game that just lets you give your opponent plant a solid one on your opponent, but only if the opponent is also playing that card at the same time. Like it needs to be a docking maneuver. All right, moving on. Thank you for showing me that, by the way. That's awesome. Okay. I feel like I should add some shade over here. My instincts are telling me so. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is actually rotate this guy a little bit. Or actually, yeah, rotating him this way feels more appropriate. Then putting up a folder here. I've also been watching the Fallout show, and I see why people are saying they wanted to play the games. Oh, word? You have a good time with it? Yeah, I've also heard really good things about the Fallout show, which is fascinating for something that I think pretty much everybody expected to flop. Like apparently it's a pretty solid 7 out of 10. So I'm glad you're having a good time with it. 7 out of 10. I feel like you do need a good 7 out of 10 show in the ecosystem every now and again. They can't all be bangers, right? They can't all be one to one, pound for pound winners. Doesn't really get you until episode 4. So it's one of those situations where it's like, okay, you're kind of playing along, but then like something good happens in one of the later episodes, and you're like, oh, okay, so this is a show. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of shows like that. It's good to hear you're having a good time with it, though. Let me know if you ever have you actually played any Fallout games. I forget if you've dabbled in them. So I'm going to darken the skin just a tiny bit. No, but I'm interested now. Let me know if you're interested in playing like New Vegas or any of the more modern or older games. I also heard the show and the games aren't the same. Yeah, I've heard that a lot. Like, there's some lore inconsistencies, but like, I imagine that the basic building blocks are all still there. There's like post-apocalyptic society. They use bottle caps as currency. There are these vaults where people lived in. It's all basically the same building blocks. If you have recommendations, speak now before the Steam sale ends. Like, honestly, the one that is like most accessible period is probably Fallout New Vegas, but even that one has some weird shit. that might hold it back. I don't know. Yeah, no. Actually, I feel like you might actually really enjoy Fallout 4. Check your computer specs to see if you can run it, because like it's like from 2016, so it's like a more recent game. But I think you might really enjoy Fallout 4, and if not, Fallout New Vegas is like $5 on sale. My personal favorite for the series is Fallout New Vegas. Yeah, I'm just gonna make the skin a couple notches lighter. Why would I like 4? It's a little less RPG-ish. Like it's got a lot fewer of like the thing is, right, Fallout, it began as a game series based on a tabletop role-playing system. It was originally based on this system called General Universe Role Playing, and then they lost the licenses to use that, so they made their own system. Hang on. So they lost the license to that, so they made their own system called the Special, which is like the different main statistics. That's strength, perception, endurance, charisma, intelligence, agility, and luck. But and they made that as like an isometric top-down game. Or I guess those are two different things. They made it an isometric RPG. That was in like the 1990s or so. Then in like 2008, they came out with Fallout 3, and they shifted it to a first-person perspective that had like FPS elements, but it's still very much it has like a lot of RPG foundations. There are skill points, you level up, there's stuff like that. Then you get the Fallout New Vegas, which is built on the same engine as Fallout 3, but I personally like it because I like the writing in it a little bit more. I like the vibe of it. There's like cowboys and robots, and it's really cool. But then it also switched developers. Yeah, that's right. From in this era, it was a company called Interplay. Interplay went kaput, and so Fallout 3 was developed by our good buddies, one of the three Bs, the legendary Bethesda. And boy, we hate those guys. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not a particular happy camper with Bethesda. Anyway, but Bethesda also had a hand. I think Obsidian Studios also had a hand in New Vegas, but yeah, no, Obsidian Studios was with New Vegas, but then they closed down Obsidian Studios, or like they went out of business. They probably got closed down by Bethesda, and then Bethesda made Fallout 4, which is even more action. Here they introduced FPS elements. In Fallout 4, it is like very heavily leaning towards FPS stuff, and in a way that still uses like RPG mechanics, but I feel like it's definitely like the most accessible to somebody who's never played a Fallout game before. But like I said, my personal favorite is Fallout New Vegas, but then Fallout 4, I feel, is more like it still has a lot of the same story elements and information from the and lore from the other games, but it might be more accessible to somebody who's never played the game before. But yeah, also hang on, hang on. Price point might be a big factor in this. Obsidian is still around. They did Outer Worlds and Pentiment. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Okay, so Fallout 4 is $10 and Fallout New Vegas is like $6, and that's in Canadian money. It's probably even less in your mighty powerful American dollar. Yeah, I say go for Fallout New Vegas, frankly. Yeah, Fallout 4 is just a recommendation if you like more like action-y games, because it has a lot more of that. New Vegas is $5 and 4 is $8. Ah, I see. Okay, that's actually a pretty comparable. Okay, yeah, so that's like a $1.74 more than it is in Canadian currency. Huh, maybe the Canadian dollar is making a comeback. Who knows? We might be back. Trying to figure out what might be a good gradient map to impose over this. But yeah. I will say that the only wrong way to play the Fallout games is probably to do it the way I did, which is start with the original 1990 Fallout games, because those are very inaccessible. They are very tough to get into. I got into them because they came free and I had no money. And also I use an internet guide. Also, I don't think you can even get those on Steam. I think you need to get them from like a GOG.com now. Actually, I think having just a little bit of the normal color on this. Maybe for everything except the skin, it would be good. Yeah, let's just actually grab a nice big chunk of this. And then... Yeah, okay. All right. Now then, what do we do for the background? I've kind of missed doing this style of stream, honestly. I like it feels like it's been a long time where I've just like started a piece and then finished it in the same stream. So this is a nice chance for me to get back to my roots. Have you not been doing that? Not really. Like nowadays, I don't know. I take more time with some of the stuff that I work on. Like that piece with Faust from Guilty Gear that I worked on. That one actually took a few different streams, some which weren't even this year, and like the Doki Bird one was 2 streams as well, I think. So yeah, they've been taking a little longer nowadays, which I'm not too happy about. But hell, I'm back on that shit. I'm back on that rhythm. We're so back. But yeah, nowadays I'm definitely cooking a little bit slower with some of the things that I do. I don't know. That's a nice change of pace as well, though. To some extent, I don't know. So I also get a little bit impatient if they take too long. It's pretty nice, yeah. Okay, then we just use a soft eraser for the head. Just so that's a little bit more contrasting, and I should do it. Now, for the background, what are we going to do? Now, if I was a foolish man, I would say just put up some Guy Fieri flames in the background and call it a day. But let's try to see if we have anything more appropriate. Yeah, I can see the mistakes, but I also got to remind myself that it doesn't have to be perfect. Yeah. Hang on. This tone scraping sand is kind of nice with it. Oh wait, can I not use that as... But I kind of want to use it as material. Why can't I... Hang on. Tone scraping tools, adjust line width. Can I not... Hang on. Oh. Whatever. And then maybe just a yellow circle in the middle. Maybe I should put the yellow circle on a different layer. That way I can play around with it a little bit. There we go. Now we just need to move the rest of the guy off to a little to the right. Alright, there we go. I might also remove a little bit of that effect that I have with the over the line right here near the belt, because I feel like that could use some additional definition. The Fergalicious definitions makes the boys go loco. I think we can also cut off a little bit of the top and the bottom of the painting. Hang on, like... Okay, no, maybe it's a bit too much off the top. Maybe like that much. Yeah, that definitely feels more manageable. Alright, I think that's gonna do it for tonight. Yeah, this one feels ready to go. Let me put my signature on this so that we may close out the stream. And also take a look at whoever else is streaming right now. I feel like there were a couple of people. If not, I'm sending you all to the wolves. You all get the wolves. Yeah, it looks like it's wolves for you. Alright. Everybody have a good night. I'll be back on Sunday with another episode of Yakuza 0 gameplay, and I will see you all later. Bye.